Hey, good morning. After my last week's thing on Lagna, there have been quite a few clarifications and requests in terms of can I take this to the next level and basically make you understand what are the concepts of Surah planets, Asura planets, and Lagna Lord in which houses are good, or for that matter, which Lagnas are good. So I'll break it up today into just making you understand the concept of Surah Asura, the houses in which Lagna Lords are good, why they are good, and probably next week I would take it up to the next level and make you understand in terms of which Lagnas are good and which Lagnas are a little bit of challenge and in which aspects of it. Every Lagna has a challenge and every Lagna has its own advantages. So a lot of things last week we have already covered. So I wouldn't be repeating it. You can just have a look at the video previously. But today I'm going to make you understand the concept of Surah and Asura planets. Now Surah planets means basically planets which are more giving by nature. Asura planets are planets which are intrinsically have an ability to checkmate you in life or let's say give you challenges in life. Checkmate because there are also planets which appear to be good but can actually get you into a lot of crazy situations of life. Firstly, talking about Surah planets, now we have to understand that among these 5 planets, Ketu is a planet which is repeated in both Surah and Asura houses, your planets. You know why? Because Ketu is extremely good in terms of spiritual matters because that's a natural moksha karaka. It is a planet which wants to make you spiritual. But the only flaw is that the planet purely believes that money takes you towards non-spiritual matters. It gets into addiction, it gets you into alcohol, womanizing, etc., etc., etc. So Ketu doesn't believe in giving you wealth. So Ketu is not a benefic in matters of finance, whereas it is an A grade benefit in matters of spirituality. So it is fantastic for meditation. It is fantastic in terms of even giving kids for that matter. Because for Ketu, increasing your lineage or basically having a child is actually a spiritual way of basically getting rid of your rins from or pitre rins from your past birth. Whereas Jupiter, Moon, Sun, and Mars are said to be Surah planets. Sun and Mars are Surah planets but have a lot of Agni, whereas Jupiter and Moon are pure Surah and pure Sattva Guna. Surah houses, houses where the Lagna Lord or the Surah planets are generally good is houses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So houses from 1 to 5 at a straight line and 9 and 11. So generally you have to study a concept called as Karaka. So Karaka I'll probably try to cover it in the next few weeks. Karaka generally means that the project manager of that particular house. So for example Lagna, which is house number 1, Karaka is Sun. Whereas the second house Karaka is Jupiter, and likewise. Whereas Asura planets are Venus, Mercury, Rahu, Saturn, and Ketu. Ketu is Asura planet in matters of finance. Venus and Mercury are in that in between range where they appear to be very Surah, because who doesn't like a relationship, who doesn't like money, but these are the same things which can actually get you also corrupted. Excess of money might get you into excessive relationship. Excessive relationship might where you might end up spending a lot of money, and then the whole fight between Venus and Mercury ensures that you are always in that rut where you have to pay the banks, you have to pay the credit cards, and ultimately you are maintaining a zero balance account. So Asura planets are this. Asura houses are again based on the Karakas. These are houses 6, 7, 8, 10 and 12. So these are the houses which are for which the Karaka is Saturn, Venus and Mercury. So these are the concept between Surah and Asura. Now when we understand or when we do a Mimamsa, the concept or laying down the foundation of it, Surah planets in Surah houses are always good. What do you mean by that? A planet, for example, Jupiter in Lagna. So Ascendant is house number 1 Jupiter is a Surah planet among that list which we just saw. So that hence Surah planet in Asura houses would be fantastic. Likewise, you have to understand that Asura planets in Asura houses is good too. So Saturn can be good in houses 6 and 8 and probably 12, depending on whether it's the Lagna Lord or not Lagna Lord. That's the bifurcation that we will understand over a period of time. And the students who are learning with me are already understanding more and more in terms of how to basically have that judgment call and understand whether the Lagna is strong, Lagna Lord is strong, and Paka Lagna is strong. Yeah. The reverse shows change in mindset and grinding. What do you mean by that? Let's say a Surah house having an Asura planet. What do you mean by that? Rahu in Lagna, for example. So when Rahu is in Lagna, Lagna is said to be a Surah house, but Rahu is said to be an Asura planet. So when there is a concept or when there is a combination of these two, there can be a little grinding in matters of that. Then the planets aspecting Lagna add or delete to the Viveka. What do you mean by that? Where Graha Drishti, when a planet is aspecting Ascendant by a Graha Drishti, it adds to the Viveka, basically the intellect. For example, if Jupiter is aspecting Lagna, then you are pretty fair-minded by nature. When Mars is aspecting Lagna by Graha Drishti, then your ability or your concepts in war are very good. You are a fair-minded person in matters of war. Whenever you want to have a court case, generally you try to get out of court settlement, or even in a situation where you think that you owe it to the other person, you want to give that away rather than fight it for it. Planets aspecting Lagna by Rashi Drishti are the pressures that create. So we have to be very clear between Graha Drishti and Rashi Drishti. So students who don't know about it, we'll be doing it at a later stage. I'll be making shorter videos. But prima facie, Rashi Drishti is a pressure on you. So what do you mean by that? Let's say Venus is in Lagna is different to Venus aspecting Lagna by Rashi Drishti. Venus aspecting Lagna by Rashi Drishti is the pressure that the opposition or your partner has on you. There can be excessive requirements from you. Your partner can never be happy with you, or there can be excessive demands from you. So that is also seen by the planets having Rashi Drishti. So generally malefics which have Rashi Drishti on Lagna are too much to handle. So we have to always look for the malefics aspecting Rashi Drishti, because they are the planets which are going to create pressures, which are going to get you into depression, which are going to really put you down the drain. Yeah. So planets in Lagna also add to the expectations, etc. So planets which are already in Lagna are already the pressures and the expectations that are there, because the lords of the houses of which those planets are the people who are giving a lot of expectations on you. For example, for Aries ascendant, if Jupiter is in Lagna, then Jupiter is the 9th lord. So your guru or your boss might be putting too much pressure on you, or they have expectations from you. But Jupiter is a Surah planet, so that expectation can actually lead to good things for you. So your guru might expect you to learn hard. Your guru might expect you to follow dharma, which only makes you a better person. So what I mean to say is that the pressures created by positive planets are positive pressures, whereas pressures created by negative planets are negative pressures. It's like, you are in a wrong company and everybody is drinking and you're the only one who is a teetotaler, then they all expect you to drink. They all expect you to have shisha. They all expect you to smoke. And in that pressure, you end up doing those things. So that's a pressure which is not a good pressure, but you had to handle that, what we call it as peer pressure, right? Now, we have to also understand that Jupiter is our value system. So planet which is Jupiter is a very important planet in the house, because that is a planet which is going to talk a lot about your value system. When Jupiter is in Lagna, your value system is very high, and the planets which are associating with Jupiter or aspecting Lagna are giving you value system based on their respective roles. For example, Venus gives you value system related to relationship, whereas Moon gives you social values. Mars gives you social values at work, Saturn at work, whereas Sun makes you very spiritual and respect towards your guru, whereas Rahu is where your value system is broken. So Rahu is, because it has got 10 heads like Ravana, it basically always gives you justification that, oh, I did this because this happened, oh, I cheated on my husband or wife because this happened, oh, I basically gave him bad words, or I was rude to him or her because he or she did this to me. So Rahu is always very smart, and it gives you a logic to do wrong things. Whereas Ketu is your spirituality. Planets conjoining Ketu in Rashi and Navamsha help you in your spirituality. We'll be talking about Navamsha at a later stage of life. Yeah. Whereas planets in Lagna, where Jupiter is in Lagna, it basically makes you very fair-minded, whereas Mars makes you a very good fighter. Saturn is the sorrow, the hard work, etc. that comes to you, whereas Moon gives you social success. Mercury is your learning ability. So all these planets, as you see in the Lagna, give their respective advantages and disadvantages. Ketu in Lagna is a very radical planet. It gives you extremities. Either you are very spiritual or you are completely not spiritual. If you are extremely spiritual, it can also make you somebody who can be a suicide bomber, because they are also very spiritual people, but spirituality gone a little hayward, as a result of which they feel that their religion is the best, and hence they are ready to kill people. So Ketu is a very dicey planet. It gives you spirituality, but depending on the certain combinations, we have to understand how much of spirituality it is giving. Yeah. Malefic planets with Rashi Drishti gives extreme pressure, as we already discussed, right? So malefic planets are something to watch out, especially the Rashi Drishtis are something which you don't want. Or if at all it is there, then at least you need some benefit to stop it. Now let us apply the same principles which we have already learned. So he's Karka Lagna. So Lagna Lord is in Lagna, Karka Lagna is lorded by Moon. Moon is in Lagna with Jupiter. So here we see both A grade benefic Surah planets are in Lagna, which is a Surah house. So a person which will have lot of Sattva Guna. Here we see Mars has a Graha Drishti, Saturn has a Graha Drishti. So Mars and Saturn, if you see from the list, will give somebody who is a very fair-minded in matters of war. So even when he was fighting with Ravana, till the end, he was constantly telling Ravana that, listen, just leave my wife, give her back to me, and I'll let you go. Even after the war was over, technically, as a rule of war, the person who wins the war takes away the kingdom. But he did not. He gave it to his brother Vibhishana, and he said that, this is not my land, so I can't rule the land. So how many kings would actually win a war and give the kingdom to somebody else? So he maintained, because of this war, Mars, the whole legitimacy in terms of, this is not my fight. I just came here to get my wife, and the fight was not about kingdom, or it was not about money at all. So likewise, you can understand the same concept. So this combination is called as Hamsa Mahapurush Yoga. It is too early to discuss it, but this is a yoga which gives undying fame. Person is remembered even after the person is dead and gone. So this yoga is an extremely, extremely auspicious yoga, and it gives you a lot of fame. Whereas the only Rashi Drishti we have is that of Mercury. Because this is a movable house, Cancer, and the only fixed sign where there is a planet is Mercury. Yeah. So Mercury gives sort of Rashi Drishti. It can be jealousy, it can be due to from some friends. It will ensure that this Mercury, because of some jealousy, actually gave him a lot of problems, because his own stepmother rather, ensured that he would not be made the king, and he had to be going to the jungles for 14 years. So that Mercury did play its own role, but the whole Raj Yoga is associated, and Arudha is also associated with Surya. So it ensures that Sri Ram is associated with the bow and arrow, and hence the photo of Sri Ram always has to have a bow and arrow, because that is how his Arudha is all about. He is the king who actually was there to fight against injustice. Now in this case also we see Lagna Lord is in the third house. So Lagna Lord, Lagna is Aries, Lord is Mars, It is again in the third house. So it's a Surah planet in the Surah house. Here we also see that there are 4 planets: Ketu, Sun, Jupiter, and Venus over here. So Jupiter, Surya, and Ketu in matters of spiritual are Surah planets. Venus is an Asura planet, but it is frankly not bad when it is in Lagna, because it is not an Asura planets in that sense very bad. However, the Drishti of Rahu is not good, so Rahu is also a Badaka planet which is in Digbala. So that aspect is not good, but it has got a fair amount of obstruction as well, because there are a lot of other planets which are over there to handle Rahu, so to say. So though Rahu can play its part in a certain dasha, but overall it is the Lagna and the strength of the Lagna which will win. Yeah. So this is how you can see. Plus there are many combinations which are happening. Jupiter and Ketu together in Ascendant is a yoga which is called as Parampara Yoga. Then there is Dviguru Yoga happening between Jupiter and Venus. Then there is Gopala Yoga happening. There is Shiva Yoga happening. So the Lagna is very strong. It only means that there will be a lot of expectations. When there are too many planets in the Lagna, it only means that a lot of people expect things from you. The very fact that people expect things from you, that means that you have an ability to give. And your journey could be about giving people something. It can be matters of wealth, it can be in matters of education, it can be in matters of following the lineage and spreading the lineage. So that is what the roadmap would be. So I'm just giving you a basic understanding of the whole concept. Now this is about Acharya Rajneesh. Was he intelligent? Here we see Lagna Lord is in the 7th house. So it is an Asura planet in the 7th house, which is an Asura house, right? Karaka is Venus. So it is not bad. Plus it is with a bunch of planets and they all are aspecting Lagna. So per se, all these planets are aspecting Lagna, and we have also the second lord which is Moon, also with this bunch of planets, right, where there is Mercury, Venus. So second lord is aspecting Lagna, and in the 7th house is also a very, very good combination to have. Plus there is a parivartana between Moon and Jupiter as well, which is happening. So overall we can say that this personality or this individual or this chart that we are seeing is a fantastically intelligent person. The only problem is all these planets are in the Badaka house. So some concepts of his can be a little stretched. Some concepts of his can be actually taken out of the context, and people around him can misuse it in matters of religion, or in matters of Venus, can be sexuality in terms of relationships, or taking it to a level where you might feel that there is no other rebirth happening, so it's okay to do whatever you want, and the whole ashram later on sort of was not a happy sight to see. But per se, can we say that he is intelligent? Yes, he is. Does he have a fantastic speech? Yes, he has. Does he have an ability to think beyond his times? Yes, he has. So we have to be fair in terms of judgment of charts. So this was part 2 of understanding Lagna. If you have any questions, I would be happy. You can WhatsApp me, you can send an email to my team, you can go through my website, and in case you want to join a program, I would be happy to assist you, and taking you to the next level of understanding Jyotish at a level where which you cannot learn it from the books, or just by 10-15 minute video. But yes, this do help, but you need to take it to the next level. Yeah, and I always will end with a quote from my guru, where he says, knowledge is an ocean, so start swimming. So have a good day, stay in touch, and see you soon.